All right, we're here with MMA legend Rich Franklin. Rich, what are you up to these days?
Well, I'm here in Singapore right now. I'm giving a little talk at the MMA Summit I was down here. But since my last fight in November, really been working on this juice business out in LA that we're building.
Yeah, tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, it's it's an organic juice business where basically you just fresh juice. The name of it is Zelin.
Zelin.
Z-E-L-I-N. And it's a combination of my business partner's last name and my last name because pretty much any possible word that we looked up in pretty much any possible language was taken. But it's we're developing these organic juices made with fresh vegetables and fruits and those kinds of things.
Right.
We'll have a chef that's going to design some of these juice recipes, and then we'll also kind of build your own. We're going to do blended drinks as well, like the whole vegetable drinks, some acai bowls, and then we have these amazing vegan pastries that are low calorie, that if you tasted, you would not believe they were low calorie pastries. So we've been building the infrastructure for this business for about the last 9 months, and we're about to roll out our first location in LA.
Awesome.
I'm really excited about it.
Awesome. Can you tell us about your career highlights? What was your favorite fight in your whole career?
My favorite fight in my whole career is surprising when I tell people this, but my favorite fight was the Travis Luger fight, which was not an excellent performance on my behalf, but basically I trained with Matt Hume for that fight. I was up in Seattle, Matt Hume was there, my boxing coach Rob Radford was with me, and they had developed, my coaching staff had developed a game plan, and they basically said, okay, when you go into the fight, Travis Luger is going to do this, then he's going to do this, then he's going to do this, and then he's going to do this, and they had everything listed. So to combat this, we'll do these drills. To combat this, we'll do these drills. To combat this, we'll do these other drills. And to combat this, we'll do these other drills. And so we had all the problems. We analyzed everything on tape, and we had all the solutions to the problems figured out. And I get in the cage, and Travis comes across the octagon and does exactly what my coaches say that he's going to do. And I have the solution. However, as I'm executing, I don't do a good job. And suddenly, I end up in the second situation that we planned for. I have the solution, and again, I don't do a good job, and I end up failing. And now I'm in the third situation, and it was just where I had all the solutions, but for whatever reason, it wasn't working for me. And I got in the worst possible situation in that fight I could be in. Basically, Travis had me mounted, and he's a jiu-jitsu expert, a submission guy, and I was in big trouble. And it was one time in a fight where I really had to kind of gut check myself and ask myself, do you really want to win this fight? Because if you do, you need to get your stuff in gear and start moving here. And so I had to dig deep. It was one of those fights where I had to dig deep. And for me, that holds a special place.
The Arnold Classic got involved with MMA. That's in Ohio, right?
Yeah.
In Columbus, right?
Yeah.
Have you had any involvement with that at all, or
Not on the development side of things. I've been up there before. I've worked with different sponsors that I've had, and done autograph sessions and things like that. And that place is mayhem. Have you ever been?
I haven't gotten it?
Okay, it's the best. The Arnold Classic is the best people watching in the world that you will ever see by far.
Freak show sometimes, right?
I mean, go there. Go there. The first time I ever went to that show, this is a true story. I walk up and there's this person at a table. I'm looking down. I'm like, man, I would love to have biceps like that. And I turn around. It was a woman. And this is true. No punchline to that story. But yeah, that show is just it's an amazing show. It's a fitness expo that has everything from girls cheerleading at young ages to jiu-jitsu tournaments to powerlifting meets to anything, marathons, like anything athletic,
right.
They have at this expo. And then, so I've been there many years
Nice.
with sponsors and done autograph signings and things like that, but never in the capacity of like event planning.
Right. Nice. Who is your favorite fighter that kind of inspired you to get into mixed martial arts? Did you have
When you go back to the early days, you have to remember that the first UFC was my graduating year of high school. And so when you go back to those first couple UFCs, the two guys that come to mind for me are Royce and Ken.
Right.
Royce because he was doing something that nobody had ever seen at the time. It was, you sat in the TV like in complete disbelief, like what is going on here? And then Ken was kind of, he was the first guy that was in the octagon that really started to put things together as a shoot fighter. He had ground game, and he stood up and he threw punches, and he wasn't just a one-dimensional fighter like all the other guys that were in the cage. And I think that aspect of his fight game really inspired me to work the way that I worked early in my career, to make sure that I was working on all the aspects of the fight game and not just one.
Awesome. If you could just say hey to the Singapore fans and your experience in Singapore.
Singapore, I'm back again. Love it down here. This is my fourth trip to Singapore. Fifth maybe. I've conducted 2 camps down here, and it's always an amazing time. The Singapore fans are always receptive and treat me really, really well, and I thank you for that, and keep watching.
And we thank Rich for his time.
Hey,
Thank you very much.
my pleasure, man.
Thank you.